Welcome, everybody, to the All Day ABA podcast. My name is Kayla, and my mission is to make behavior analysis fun and accessible to clients, students, and even supervisors. And today, I have a very special guest with me who even has a few rap songs out. And so I would like you to tell us who you are and what your backstory is.
Let's go. My name is Georgiy. I run a financially savvy Instagram page called Funancialism. It's very tough to spell. I probably should have went with a different username. I was kind of thinking, should I be the middle class mogul? But then I don't know. I stuck with Funancialism because I was like, it's the first thing on my mind. I don't want to backtrack. But what I do is I'm actually a clinical supervisor for in ABA. So I've been doing ABA since 2015, which is the same year I started rapping and the same year I started investing in stocks. So that's my sacred trinity: ABA, rap, and investing. I think there's a lot from ABA that I learned that enhanced the other two skill sets, because ABA is all about enhancing one's skill sets. So that's my whole life philosophy. How many different skills can I acquire and come as close to as above average or slightly above average as possible? And I found that with things like investing, for example, just being slightly above average or even average is life-changing, opens up so many gateways. I feel like it's a super cusp behavior. So that's less about me and more about my interests. But I was born in Ukraine. I came here as a baby in 1993. Do the math. And I've been kicking it ever since in the Los Angeles area.
That's so awesome. So tell us, how did you get started in ABA?
So I watched this movie and it's called Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster, right? Is Jodie Foster? Yeah,
I truly couldn't tell you,
okay.
But
Well,
I'll go with that.
Yeah, she's one of my crushes in the world next to Rihanna. But out of celebs. But anyways, I don't think I stand a chance. My girlfriend's probably going to listen to this too, but she knows what I'm into. But anyways,
it's all fair game when it's celebrities.
That's right. That's a different podcast episode. But anyways, I just got totally distracted with Jodie Foster and Rihanna. But Silence of the Lambs is a movie all about kind of psychology, love, changing behavior in a way somewhat. And I was just like, man, if there's like a field that kind of works with human behavior. So I went on Google and I typed in human behavior. This was after I graduated UCLA and kind of was like, I don't know what to do. I was doing kids parties on the weekends. Mickey Mouse, that was me. I was right there at your party doing all that, getting paid in cake and pizza. And then I kind of was like, wait a second, human behavior jobs, ABA, kids with autism. I definitely met kids with autism while doing parties all around LA. I feel like this would be a nice thing to try out. So I went ahead and got a second job. Actually, sorry, a third job. I skipped the restaurant, but that's also a different episode. But yeah, so that was me having 3 jobs, all kind of different from each other. And I decided to stick with ABA because I was actually learning while teaching other people. Yeah. And that just it hit. And as soon as I was like, hold on, what I'm doing here, what if I do this, but with money? What if I break down a complex task like writing a rap song into very small micro tasks? Oh my gosh, this stuff works. And I stuck with it ever since.
And so that gets to, how did you start investing?
Investing. Yeah. So I feel like I was investing before I knew what investing was. I played a video game called RuneScape online.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You played that?
No, well, all my friends did, but that was the thing in 5th grade. It's been a hot minute, but I've heard all about RuneScape.
Well, anything I start, I stick with for a long time. So I played RuneScape probably from 6th grade all the way up until 12th grade. So, 6 years or so. And on RuneScape, I learned about flipping, holding rare items that are discontinued, kind of like how does a game update impact prices. So I started thinking that way, and I was like, man, I don't want to hold gold because gold just keeps going down. I want to buy things and hold things instead of gold. It's way smarter. So that's what I started learning at like the age of 12 and 13, and it stuck with me. Those 6 years were impactful. I also played a card game called Yu-Gi-Oh! And there I could kind of like understand the ecosystem. Like, hold on, people haven't discovered that this secret rare card from 5 booster packs ago can actually be played in today's like metagame, and it's only $4 a copy. And I would go and buy as many copies as I could. I had like $20, but still, those 5 copies I would then resell later once it became popular, if it worked, or if I started winning with that card in my local comic shop, I could sell it for double, triple, even more. One of my biggest first investments was a brand new card came out with kind of a new mechanic, and I had $300 under my bed. And I literally went ahead and bought as many as I could for about $11 each. And about a week later, they were selling for $25 to $30 each.
That's a
So
pretty
I
good
was like,
return.
well, it actually kept going up to like 60 each, but I didn't wait that long. So yeah, that was like an amazing flip. And once I realized that stocks are a thing, I was like, wait a second, there's an even grander scale to do this. Okay, and I don't even have to go to a store. I could just do it on my phone or my computer while I'm in bed, not wearing pants. I'm not wearing pants, by the way, right now. And I could just
I'm
do that.
I'm wearing a mermaid tail for those that
Oh,
can't see the video. It's pretty fun.
what a coincidence, because I'm also, but yeah, so that's how I found out like about investing, and I just hit the ground running, started listening to every podcast I could find, watching every YouTube video I could find, watching the same videos on the same topics. I think what helped was peripherally, somewhere in the back of my mind, I remembered my mom mentioned the word mutual fund when I was 10 years old, and that kind of, I feel like, was a primer. It took like probably like 10 years for it to finally hit. But once it hit. And I was like, wait a second. My mom was kind of saying something about this. Now, too bad she didn't listen to her own advice. But it is scary, especially if you're like an immigrant and you're in the United States and English isn't your first language and money is hard for you. Like, you're not going to risk or do what feels like a risk by investing your hard-earned money into a market, which, turn on any news station and they're probably like, stocks are down, retirement funds are depleted
Yeah.
forever again.
But thankfully, she's taking your advice now. And this is kind of a question I'm just throwing at you that you're not prepared for, but why should people invest?
Yeah, I think especially if you live in the United States of America, investing is such a privilege. It's so easy to do here. You're getting your values worth for your labor. So say you're working for $20 an hour, your employer's probably making $20 or more per hour, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes they're making way more. I think in McDonald's, for every employee that they have, like with minimum wage, they're making 130,000 plus for each person. So they're making more money than the person working. Fact check me on that, everyone listening in. But that's kind of like the moral of the story. Your employer's probably making more money than you at your job. But one way to kind of get even is to tap into corporate profits. And the way to do that is by investing. So say you make $20 at your job, you're going to give Uncle Sam, I don't know, like $3. Make sure you give yourself $1 to $3 too. You shouldn't be paying the government more than you pay yourself, although I know sometimes it's very difficult. And then you invest that into maybe even the same company you work at, and that's not financial advice, you will get some of that profit that they made because of you. So investing is just tapping into your hard work and getting rewarded the way you're supposed to get rewarded, because no one gets rich off of saving money, only investing money. So that's why I feel like if you want to be financially healthy, investing is not an option.
It is a requirement.
Exactly. You must do it.
And I always like one of the reasons I like entrepreneurship personally is because there's no like salary limit. And if you're working at a 9 to 5 job getting a salary, I mean, you can get raises and things like that, but there's not a lot of ways to increase your income. But passive income through investing is one way to do that. So, give me your 3 best tips for someone who has never invested before and wants to start today.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming a lot of people listening in are savvy in ABA. So what I'll say is kind of flip to the back of the book to self-behavioral management and create a task analysis for yourselves where you're just going to break down what investing kind of looks like to get started. So the way I break it down, you could just copy mine, is 1, create an account. How long does it take? 4 minutes. Do you got 4 minutes? If you're listening to this, you definitely got 4 minutes. If you go to the toilet, you definitely got 4 minutes. You could probably do it while you're on the toilet while having 4 minutes. So all you do, you're probably going to ask for your social security, how much money you make, what's your investing experience, and where you work, stuff like that. It's so the government can kind of track any new potential flows of income. If you're selling a stock, for example, you got to pay some taxes if there's a profit, and vice versa. If you're selling at a loss, you pay less taxes from your 9 to 5 and all that. But that's kind of getting off topic again, another TED Talk. So the first thing is create that small little to-do list with small micro tasks. And the very first one should be just make an account. Just make an account. That's the easiest thing that you could do. It takes 4 minutes. I'm going to repeat it one more time. It takes 4 minutes. I just spent 4 minutes explaining that it takes 4 minutes to make an account. You could have made an account. Now, the second thing to do is a little bit harder. I want you to, instead of looking forward 4 minutes, look forward 4 decades. Where do you want to be financially? And reverse engineer it. Actually, the reverse of engineering is not engineering, but backwards engineer it. People always do that with psychology, reverse psychology. So not psychology. I got a client who always challenges me whenever I say something, and he like looks for loopholes in the language. And I'm like, I do that too, but you take it to a whole other level. Technically, we're not on a level right now. Never mind. So the next thing I would do is go backwards from your goal. So say I want to have enough money that I don't have to work or rely on a potential social security. Great. Awesome. How much money is that? Most people, they don't have an answer. So that's number 2. Find out how much money you would need or want in 40 years, maybe 30, maybe 20, maybe 10. That would be part 3. When do you want to live a work optional life? Or what do you want your investments to fund? For example, if you wanted to fund a vacation, well, now you got 2 skill sets to learn: travel card hacking with credit cards, and supplementing everything else with investments. So for example, reaching a 7-figure portfolio, getting to $1 million might seem very daunting, especially if you're making between 70 and 90K. You might think, oh, can I ever do that? Well, people who make 50K have done it. So you definitely can make it if you're going with an average BCBA 9 to 5 income. There's people who made $15 an hour, more than one person. So if more than one person can do it, then it is very possible. It's just a lot harder. But with a higher middle class type of income in the higher 5 figures, I do believe that it is possible for everyone to get financially savvy enough to live some sort of work optional life and fund something. When it comes to funding a vacation, I think $4,000 a year would be great. But to have $4,000 a year sustainably every year forever, you would need about $100,000 in a portfolio invested in mostly what's called index funds. And I don't know if that's a separate TED Talk or you want to go more into that, but that's what a person would need following like all the studies on investing that have been done over the past 50 years or so.
Yeah. And going back to ABA, you mentioned, task analysis and all that. I was thinking of like a picnic. I think it was called a picnic analysis. And I think we talked about it in grad school regarding like performance management and all that. I could be butchering the name of it, but it was the difference between like a short-term, like immediate gain versus like a long-term gain. So what are some other ways that you relate investing to ABA?
Yeah. I think the main part is that it is a skill set and it can be broken down. That's the main thing. Creating rule-governed behavior is key. I think what makes investing so difficult for people to do, especially for a long time, is lack of reinforcement. The
Yeah.
reinforcement, it's absent. It does not exist. Why do people do it? They're reinforced in other ways that are social. They get to talk about it, right? No one is reinforced for taking $100,000 or even $10 and putting it into the stock market, because the next thing that happens is nothing. You can talk about putting it in, but nothing happens. Maybe a private event happens and you're proud of yourself, but what if the first thing you see is your $10 turns to $9.95, right? Now you're like, oh, fudge, I'm 5 cents poorer. Or what if your $100,000 turns into $99,000 on day 2 of investing? Now you're like, why did I do that? That's $1,000 gone in just a single day. So investing is not reinforcing, but it is rewarding. It takes time to get there. You will never find a long-term investor who says, I wish I never did this. But you will
Right.
find a bunch of people who learn way later in life how it works. And they're 100% of them will say, I regret not doing this sooner. So those are absolute truths when it comes to investing. When it comes to ABA, again, rule governed behavior is key. Setting those rules and sticking to them, creating rules for dodging rules is also important. Like you said earlier with the picnic, there's short term and there's long term. It is okay to have different types of goals for your money. Some money might be for the long term. You might lock that into a Roth IRA. Do not forget to buy stocks inside the Roth IRA. A lot of people forget to do that. It's not like a 401k, it does not happen automatically. But once it's inside of the Roth IRA, you buy the stocks, and that's your money for age 59 plus. Then you might take another percentage of your income and put that in a brokerage account, like with Charles Schwab or Robinhood or SoFi or Vanguard or Fidelity. I'm naming a lot of names just so everyone knows there's options, and I'm not affiliated with any of them. I want to be affiliated with all of them. So once you have that more short-term goal, you now have kind of like your work optional bucket, your traditional retirement bucket, and maybe you even have a gambling bucket, because there's things like Dogecoin and GameStop that happen and you're going to have FOMO. So maybe for every $1,000 you invest, you'll take $50 and throw it into something random. That's totally fine. You might be hugely rewarded for that. In the world of investing, in the short run, people get rewarded for the wrong things and punished for the right things. But in the long term, you will always be rewarded for the right thing and always punished for the wrong thing with very high probability. So not always, but 99.99% of the time.
I have you to thank actually for starting my account on M1 Finance.
What?
I can, do you still have your code?
So there is a code that they give out, and I always look for these opportunities. Right now, their code used to give $50 per person if you just deposit $100. That is unreal, because for the stock market to give you $50 for every $100 you invest, that should take about 4 years to 5 years on average. So you're basically setting this $100 and it's time traveling 4 to 5 years. That's awesome. You can't do that with quote big money, end quote. You can't do that with 100 grand, but you can do that with $100, with $50. Right now, M1 Finance halted that program because it's just a promotional temporary thing, but I always look out for them. M1 does give a $10 reward now instead of $50, but there is another one right now. If you're listening, or sometime around summer of 2022, Charles Schwab only rewards a new user who makes an account and deposits $50. They will give you $101 in about 4 minutes of work. That is the only reinforcement you will ever see when it comes to investing, tripling your money right off the bat. Now, can you do that with 50 grand and turn it to 150? No. but you can do it with 50. And that's why I like to be affiliated with every platform out there, because it's a matter of time until one has a promotion like that. And we can all get some side hustle money. I made maybe around $4,000 to $5,000 off of M1 Finance, just making everyone $50. So for every $50 that I got, I am happy knowing someone else got $50 and at no expense to them, at no expense to me. So I love doing that. Right now, Charles Schwab is probably the best one. There's no way that either one of us benefit from this except the listener. So if you're a listener and you want to start investing, go on Google and type in Charles Schwab $101 bonus. Do not lag. These are very temporary. Sometimes they last weeks, sometimes they last months. There is no deadline for them to stop. You have no idea. Fidelity was just doing this and they stopped abruptly. M1 Finance was doing this and they stopped right when they said they would stop. So always be on the lookout for these opportunities. Lots of money to be made. But again, this is that low risk, but low amount of money. Not life-changing, but it is a life-changing habit. You know, $4,000. I could do a lot with that.
And thanks to you and how much I've learned from you, I brought you on here because I want you to tell everybody about your courses, what you offer, how they will help other ABA professionals who are wanting to earn passive income. So go ahead and tell us about that.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of courses I'm very proud of. I like doing workshops as well. One that is coming up is actually all about non-fungible tokens and NFTs. I'm reworking it based on the new price crash in the crypto world, where we see cryptocurrencies dropping 70%. And so I want to design a course. It will be announced or no, it's already announced. I just announced it, but it will be going on in mid-August. So that will be a really fun thing. If it's foreign to you, I made it very, very cheap entry point. I think it's like $30 or something like that. You definitely get your money's worth. I made about $70 just this weekend, buying an NFT for $50 and then selling it for $129 today. And that took me about 3 minutes of labor. So I'm like, okay, that's awesome. So that's
a good
something
rate to pay.
yeah, I'm very, very excited about the future of NFTs and what they're doing. I think there's a lot of opportunities. So if anyone's interested in learning about that, definitely hop on. I also have this is my baby. This is my little boy, or I don't want to gender my course, but this is my creature that I have made. This is my I don't want to do that to my course.
Is it your
either.
crotch goblin?
It's my Pikachu. It's my Pikachu. So I chose this course. It chose me, actually. We chose each other. During the pandemic, I decided to really focus on putting all of my knowledge that I've acquired over the past 7 years into one place. And so I did that with my course. I called it Stock Market 101, the laziest path to wealth, because stocks are the laziest path to wealth. You click buttons on a keyboard and you sit back and go do your 9 to 5. Your 9 to 5 will fund your 40 to 80 plus. So that's kind of the whole incentive about this course. What motivated me is all of the mistakes that I made that I don't want other people to make.
Right.
Yeah. So I already calculated my net worth if I never made any of those mistakes, and it would be at least double what it is right now. And I'm not shy about it. I am sitting at around $300,000, and this is around a crash time. I don't check it that often, but about twice a year, 3 times a year, I check in and I add up all my crypto, my stocks, my Pokemon cards, my savings, my checking, all my different platforms, my Charles Schwab $101 bonus, all that stuff I added up because when it comes to stocks, you're going to learn that net worth is something that fluctuates. You could have 400K, then you could have 600K, then you could have 300K. But at the end of the day, the stock market is kind of like this. If I give you $20 and the next day I say, give me $10 back, you're going to feel weird about it. You're still up $10, but you feel weird about it. If I just gave you $10 to begin with, you'd be so happy. Stock market's going to do that, but it's going to do that like this. Here's 2 million. Now give me 800,000 back. That's what it's going to do. If I just gave you 1.2 million up front, you would be really, really happy. But the same result. So fallacies. And we talk about fallacies and creating these rule governed behaviors in my course. I think I put everything possible in it, and I do gradual updates to it. I recently added an analysis of the Great Depression through a 2008 lens while analyzing it from a COVID crash perspective. So that's a cool newer module on there. I'm always adding new stuff based on current events in Zoom nights. So we have Zoom nights where people can hop on, and just like this, we can talk all things finance. Sometimes a bunch of people hop on, sometimes one person hops on, and it's great. We get to talk about whatever anyone wants when it comes to personal finance. I'm pretty much infinite in what I love to talk about when it comes to money and financial health. So that's the course summed up. You can find it on Instagram.com/Funancialism. That's where I'm at. And send me a message. Watch out for the fake accounts, right? Like as soon as you follow me, there will be 3 fake accounts that message you. Don't reply. You could tell. You just click on their page and you will see they have no engagement. Please don't fall for this. I had 2 friends fall for this.
Oh no.
Yes, one sent $4,000. Yeah.
No.
Well, Wells Fargo bailed them out, and they're like, "We got you. It's a scam. We're pulling the money back into your account." But my other friend sent 300, and she was in more dire straits than the person who sent 4,000. And so right now her bank is not cooperating. So we'll see what happens. But please be media literate and be very, very careful with how you interact on Instagram. Always make sure that you're talking to the official account for anyone. If Barack Obama messages you, please don't assume it's Barack Obama until you check the page.
Right.
Yeah. Please be careful.
Yep. So just a little backstory about my own investing journey. I started when I was like 18. So that part was good, but I really didn't start up until like a year ago when I, you know, found you and was following your content, and I was like, well, now I need to. So my own personal little behavior intervention plan for myself is just that I invest 25% of like everything that comes in. That's I mean, I'm not making like millions, but that's
Wow.
that's my plan. Not everybody will be able to do that, but there are, I think you were talking to iBehavior a while back, and you were talking about like the 2 different, 2 general ways to invest. And one is, a fixed money amount, or not necessarily fixed,
Yeah,
but
dollar amount. Yeah.
based on money, and then based on percentages. So I have found that for me, it works really well to go based on a percentage as opposed to like a money value. And that's worked
Right.
really well for me.
I love that. I think percentage ways is the key to go. You might have to do a little bit of stuff by hand. When it comes to a dollar amount, you can usually automate that. Like on Robinhood, if you want to do 150 a month, it'll let you do that as long as you put it into those specific stocks or crypto that you want to put it into. Percentage wise, I wish we could automate that. I cannot wait.
Right.
I think that will happen in the future, especially as this whole Web3 revolution happens, as the internet's being kind of capitalized, but in more like individualized right now, like off topic, but we don't have access to our stocks immediately. Like if we see something go on sale at Amazon and we're like, look, I really need this. I really want this. I have the money in my stocks. I'm breaking my rules. I'm selling my stocks and I'm buying this while this is on sale. I believe every person should have the freedom to make that mistake. Right now, we don't have the freedom to make that mistake, but in the future, there will be NFT token versions of our stocks. They will represent our stocks. So while it takes like 3 days to transfer out and all that, Merrill Edge to be like, yep, Bank of America to be like, yep, you will already have made that trade. And then on the back end, the other trader will receive your stocks or the money that you sold your stocks for.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to talk about or teach while we're here?
I think I just want to make sure that everyone who has gotten this far in this episode, I want you to know one more time, it takes 4 minutes to make an investing account. Everyone can do it. It's the most inclusive it has ever been. There's no more commission fees. It's just so easy. Right now, we're experiencing, if you're listening to this during July of 2022, maybe August of 22, we're still in a huge stock market crash. We're basically down 1/5 of the market of what it was back at the start of the year. So everyone always screams, buy low, sell high. Don't do that, just buy and hold. But everyone who's screaming that is not doing that. Why? Everyone thinks things will always get worse. And when things are going well, they always think that things will always get better. So what you're supposed to do is know that you don't know. And consistently, whether it's a percentage amount, a dollar amount, whatever your fixed schedule is, stick to it, do not change it, and never, ever panic sell anything. There's strategies for selling, and we talk about that inside of my course. For example, with crypto, you could sell it at a huge loss and buy it back 10 seconds later, and you have the tax loss and the same cryptocurrencies. So you cannot lose if you're investing for the long run. The same rules apply with stocks, but that's a whole different TED Talk. It's a little bit different with stocks. You got to wait a little longer, like 30 days, but that's all cool concepts that we talk about inside my course. You could always DM me on Instagram, aka on Funancialism. You can find me on Spotify. You can listen to my raps out there. Lazy Boy, the supposedly Illuminati got a tape of one of my music videos. I'm trying to get it back from them. That will happen, and you will see it on YouTube, and hopefully you will be one of the viewers, and you'll play it at your kid's birthday party. And don't forget to tip Spider-Man really, really well when he comes.
That's awesome. So the very, very last question I have. So to give our listeners something to do right now, what would be the, top 3 apps that if they want to go invest right now, which they should, what should they download to get started? What would be the, top 3 that you would suggest?
Depending on the time that someone is listening to this. So you right now listening in your car, while you're jogging, on the toilet especially, go on Safari and type in Charles Schwab $101 bonus. Now, if it's too late for that, go on Google and type in USA investing platform bonus, and you might find something that you are surprised by. You might get a $50 bonus for opening an account and depositing $100. That would be awesome. But I would do Charles Schwab right now just because of the bonus. A great platform you mentioned earlier is M1 Finance. M1 Finance allows you, the way it's different from Schwab and Fidelity and Vanguard, is it allows you to think in terms of percentages when it comes to different positions that you hold. So instead of putting like $50 into Apple, you would put $20 of every dollar into Apple, and it would do that automatically. Apple is just an example. It's not financial advice or nothing like that. So you are able to do that. But Charles Schwab and Fidelity and Vanguard are missing one thing, including M1 Finance. I think actually that's changing very, very soon, though. But if you want to mess around with cryptocurrencies, there's always Robinhood, which allows for it. I know a lot of people are afraid of Robinhood. I see nothing to fear when it comes to Robinhood. Read the fine print. Cryptocurrency is never safe on any platform, including Robinhood, including Coinbase. It can always get locked up forever if something happens to that platform or the aspect of it that deals with cryptocurrency. So you'd want to invest in a ledger, but that's a whole different TED Talk as well. So please invest at your own risk. But when it comes to investing for the long term with index funds that track the top companies in the United States, I think it is very difficult to make a mistake as long as you are consistent on a fixed schedule, percentage or dollar based, hopefully percentage based. If it's dollar-based, then increase it gradually. And then, wait, there is no then. That's it. That's pretty simple. Yeah. So just make your accounts Robinhood, Charles Schwab, and Fidelity, Vanguard. They're all great. The difference between them, nothing. Just a few little features here and there. But M1 Finance does look the prettiest if you ask me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to link to all of your things in the show notes that will be available on AllDayABA.org. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I hope you've had as good of a time as I've had.
Heck yeah.
Well, we will talk to you all later, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.